Right here. This is the microphone.
Okay.
You could probably just put that in that pocket. We'll slide it up through. Can you slide it up through there?
And then your pipeline meeting, just everybody in the pipeline, right?
Yeah, it'll be back in here. I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, I told Reich to notify his, Matt to notify his while I'm doing this.
You know, you can slide that around back and put it in your back pocket.
There you go. Fucking button. But yeah, let's get it. I'm ready. Slide it over just a little bit so it catches your voice a little bit more. Boom.
Now, on the screen, you're
Oh, you're the man. What's going on, guys?
What up? What up?
What up? What up? What up? Got a full house in here. Got the full house on virtual too. Hey, Christina, Marquise, let's go. Studs, Marissa, stud. Got some newer people in the mix. Got Tommy Whalen. Tommy Whalen, you better put that pretty face on this camera, my man. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, guys. We're still waiting for some people to come in here. Some stragglers are coming in. Write down get some good questions prepared while we wait. I'm letting in people by the second here. Max, man. Don't like the Max. Not a Mac guy. Admit. All right, or not. I guess whoever this is not going to get admitted at the moment. I feel like this mouse is like a brick. Like I could. It's like it's like a magnet to the table or something. That's that Mac. Got that Mac on me. Why is our Wi-Fi not working? I don't know, Hansi. Marvin, did you get your H&M late Christmas present? No? Check your work email. Oh, Tommy's driving. Man, Tommy, you bad boy. We got to get some videos on here, guys, or I'm just going to start booting people out. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's not how I do things. Pre-license huddle. Can't get this to copy and paste for the life of me. Who uses Samsung? Who uses Does anyone have an Android at all? You know how you gotta like keep holding until it says copy, like somewhere in the message, or like somehow just get that group me message copied. Oh, Matt Jan's got the baby on his chest. That is a true hustler right there. No excuses. He's got a newborn on his chest, sipping the coffee, ready to go. That is the grind. That is the hustle. I don't think I got audio for all you guys right now. Let's see. Hold on. Maybe this is just not up. No, it is up. What's going on?
We're all muted. Hear me?
Okay, good. There you go. That was a test. No, okay. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. All right, guys. Great. Great. Rich, Tommy Whalen. Man, I don't know if I can make an exception. Rich, I'll do anything for. Rich is a vet. He's been here for a hot minute.
Hey, Vince, I'm switching over to the laptop right now.
Okay. All
Give me a
right.
second.
Hey,
I'll be back.
we still got a spot for you here at the round table if you want to come in. We're gonna have to check your temperature first though, with the thermometer. All right, guys. All right, guys. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We're gonna start doing these sales copies a little bit more mixed up now. It's not just gonna be only Mr. Vina. I'm sure you guys have. Oh, okay. I'm sure you guys, as much as Mr. Vina knows, I'm sure sometimes it is sounded like I don't even know what to do with this information sometimes. You know what I mean? I know a lot of things that Mr. Vina told me when I was brand new, I wrote down like word for word, and until I was about like 3 to 5 months in, I really looked back on it all and I was like, okay, this makes a lot more sense now. Like he was 100% right. There was no exaggerations. He's not just a little bit nuts. He was spot on. And if I would have listened, I would have been in a better spot. Andres. All right. Better late than never. So with that being said, guys, we're going to shuffle it up. We're going to be changing. We got Gio, we got myself, Mr. Matt Hunsberger, and I believe even Reich is going to be running one of these as well. So, but possibly not. I could be wrong on that one. But this just came out on Tuesday, guys. So, apologize for the late setup, but I'm glad we got everybody in here now. Typically, though, we want to make sure we start these off with a lot of questions. This is going to be a good chance to get a lot of sales, a lot of sales coffee is just going to be sales questions, So anything that we don't know, needed to know, coulda, shoulda, woulda, did in this appointment, or something that this lady or gentleman in an appointment said to me that I didn't really know what it was. I'm here. I'll answer pretty much maybe this whole entire hour. We'll just go through questions. But I don't want to spend it, just only answering questions as well. We got more people in this waiting room. Let's go. Hold on, guys. Let me admit these people in. Admit all. Boom. We got all kind of people up in here. Did you figure that out, Faith?
No, I don't know. I was thinking maybe I don't know how to quit group me on your phone, but.
How to quit group me?
Yeah, how you on open apps.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Whoa, what'd you just say? I need to get an iPhone. Oh, wait, I found it. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. Got it. Thank the Lord. Okay, let's see here. All right, guys, looks like we finally got everybody up in here. Rich, Danny, Ryan, Edgar, you got to put your video on, Edgar. Who is MH? Marquise got his video on.
You really don't want good morning. You don't really want my video on. I'm driving. I'm on my way into the office.
Good. Hey, Rich, you're the only exception I'll make in this whole room, so it's okay,
Thank you,
Rich.
sir.
We've been together since day one. I understand.
I'm holding my phone on top of it.
Oh, don't worry. Be safe. But we'll go ahead and get started, guys. I want to start off just by saying everyone should really just be, honestly giving themselves a nice pat on the back this week, this new year. We're 8 days into the new year. I want to make sure you guys don't. What's up? No, lights are cool. Don't forget what you came into this new year pledging to yourself that you were going to do. Make sure we keep our commitments, keep our promises. This is right around the time where everyone's New Year's resolution starts to kind of go little by little further and further away, less and less importance. Make sure you're waking up every day, keeping those New Year resolutions in front of you. If you made vision boards, make sure we finish those as well, guys. We want to make sure we finish our vision boards. I know a lot of my team did some vision boards on the new year. We got the pictures on the front, but a lot of us didn't get to our goals on the back. And I know I want to schedule a lot of one-on-ones with you guys to get that done. So, make sure we have our goals in mind and where we want to be. And I'll be able to fine tune those with you as well. See your managers to do likewise. But we have a lot of momentum right now. We have a lot of momentum. I mean, we're really killing it right now. Everyone is just blowing it up. We're blowing other agencies out of the water that have been doing this for a very long time. So, we're really doing something that's truly special to start this new year. But the hardest thing and the only thing that separates, champions from average or highly successful to average is discipline and consistency, So let's keep the consistency going. Anyone can do it for a week, but it takes someone that's, truly disciplined and truly committed to keep doing it for the entire year, or even 1 month, or even 3 months, because we all need those days off sometimes. So don't kill yourself too much, but pick your battles, put first things first, guys, and let's make sure we stay on the right track, because right now we're doing everything that we should be. And if we keep this up by the end of this year, even by June, this whole agency is going to flip upside down. I mean, it's already going to, but you're going to walk in here and you're not even going to recognize the place. We're going to have everything fully outfitted finally, TVs in the overview room, DJ booths. We got the cubicles coming in right now for the hallway for everyone to be making some calls, soundproofing yourself. I'm sure the Wi-Fi and the connection is on that list as well. And we'll have this place popping like Wolf of Wall Street here in no time. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started though, guys. I want to start off just by asking, does anybody have any specific questions about something that they encountered in an appointment that they really didn't know how to handle, or would like to hear, a different way to handle it? All right, we're going to do virtual first. I'm sorry, we'll do virtual first. I wish I could share. Do Apples share screen? Yeah. They do? Okay.
Vince, I have a question, but it's not really regarding, oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. It's not really regarding like a specific appointment. And I know you guys have gone over this in Sales Coffee before, but I don't know like
okay.
how many people haven't heard it. But one thing I really want to know about is the tax triangle, because I just think that's a really good selling point. And you could tell me if that's better for a different day, or like if that was like recent, I'm not sure, but I know since I've been here, I haven't really heard anything of it. So.
You said the tax triangle?
Yeah, like comparing like Roth like IRAs and like just the tax triangle in general, I think is, I don't know. I would just like to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's like a video that Mr. Vina had made with the tax triangle. It's kind of like really old school, but we got Javon here trying to get us on the screen behind us. Yeah, there we go. Now you guys can all see yourself. And then, but we can definitely go over the tax triangle a little bit. Me, myself, I had really only went over it a few times, with Mr. Vina, but, basically if I had a whiteboard behind me, oh, that's a little bit weird, huh? Yeah, we can't. Yeah. Just participant view.
Remove spotlight up here.
Remove spotlight.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. Now we got Christina's face on the back. All right, guys. Hold on. There we go. All right. That's normal. Okay. All right. But basically, guys, when you look at the tax triangle, I've had some notes written down since day one when Tommy showed me the tax triangle. Haven't really gone over it since then, but basically what it breaks down to from just looking at my notes is if you do draw a triangle on your paper, your notes, the top of the triangle he has as things that are tax-free. They're deposits that you make into, a Roth IRA or something of that nature. including, honestly, I don't think life insurance would be in the tax-free because you're already paying for it with tax-free money. But the other section of the triangle is the bottom right part of the triangle. It's tax deferred, right? So tax-free, we'll start off at the top. Tax-free is like Roth IRAs, right? You guys, when you have a Roth IRA, you're dumping money into this Roth IRA that is actually, already been taxed. Whether it's coming from a traditional IRA and you're just withdrawing, a certain amount a year, putting it into the Roth, you're going to set up a plan with your financial advisor where he takes a certain amount out of your traditional IRA, dumps it into the Roth at the end of the year. So there's no, there's no penalty, but it does have to be, it does have to be after 59 and a half because you will have an early withdrawal penalty if you take it out though. But as far as conversions go, there's at the end of the year, every year, you can choose to roll over money into a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, out of a 401k or an investment, and you can choose to pay taxes on it right then and there. So that would be the top of the tax triangle, would be things that are going to be, deposited into a Roth IRA, and it's already been taxed. The money has already been taxed that you're putting in that Roth IRA. That way, when it pays out, it's essentially income tax free. Yes, Stephen.
Also includes cash value whole life.
It also includes cash value whole life. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Like I said, it's been a while. So if you have any notes to add right there, that'd be great. So Stephen made a great point. At the very top of the triangle, tax-free deposits after tax, it includes cash value life insurance. Right? Are you pretty good on this, Stephen? Pretty solid on it?
A little bit.
How solid?
Trying to find one note.
The bottom right is tax deferred, guys. The bottom right is tax deferred. That's IRA. That's like traditional IRAs and 401ks. Traditional IRAs, pension plans, 401ks, 403b plans. When it goes in, it's tax deferred. When they pay out, guess what? They're taxed. So that's the bottom right, tax deferred. Everything is tax deferred. While you're spending money and putting things into it, it's not getting taxed when you put the money into it, but it is getting taxed when you withdraw. That's how it works with a pension. That's how it works with a 401k, 403b. 403b is pretty much the same thing as a 401k. It's just specified for healthcare workers. Usually are the ones that carry 403bs. They're not too different there. But yeah, and then pensions, of course. When a pension grows, it's tax-free. It gives you a guaranteed benefit, monthly benefit. And when you do look at your taxes at the end of the year, you are paying income tax on your pensions, monthly, benefits that it has given you. So we got the top, tax-free, like we said, Roth IRAs, municipal bonds, right? That's up there too. Cash value life insurance is the main thing that we're focused on here, because what are we in the business for? We sell and we specialize in whole life, cash value life insurance. Question before we finish up. So great question. Marvin asked, what's the difference between a Roth IRA and a regular IRA? It's a great question. The difference is the regular IRA is going to be something that's down in the bottom right, tax deferred. That's a traditional IRA, it's called. You don't pay taxes when it's going in. You put the money there into these traditional IRAs, but when it pays out, you pay taxes on your traditional IRA when you start to collect from it. So with that being said, a Roth IRA is going to be at the very top, tax-free. You're already putting after-tax money that's already been taxed is what you put into a Roth IRA. So that way, when it pays out, guess what? No income tax. It is tax-free. Right? Tax deferred just means, our bottom right section, I wish I had a whiteboard. The bottom right is tax deferred. That just means you're not paying taxes on it till later, right? You're not paying any taxes on it till later. like a traditional IRA, a pension, things of that nature. Because with an IRA, you know, you're setting up money to go into these IRAs that you haven't paid taxes on yet for a traditional IRA. In the bottom right, a 401k is the same thing. It's being taken out of your employer's contributions. Maybe you have it set up where it's coming out of your payroll, whatever it may be coming from. For 401ks and traditional IRAs, it's just set up to be put into those before it's even taxed as income under your name. You know, so that's why it's called tax deferred, because right now you haven't paid taxes on it. It's going straight to the 401k or straight to the traditional IRA or straight to the pension plan. It's going straight in there, hasn't been touched yet. No one's taxed it yet. It's tax deferred. When it pays out, when you collect, it's taxed. It's deferred till you collect it, right? Yes.
Yeah, so I have a question there. I had a Roth IRA set up in the military,
Mm-hmm.
and it came to the employer, obviously. So if I wanted to take over that, would it be stuck with them, or can I like just?
It was through the military. Was it like a savings or like annuity, or was it actual?
It was a
Roth.
straight Roth IRA.
It was a straight Roth IRA. Yeah. That I mean, that's going to be something that the military would have guidelines on. I'm not sure if they're going to maybe, you know, hold you from that or something, but I know in the Carpenters Union, we had like a savings and annuity fund where they kind of took some of our money that we made every hour. And most unions are like this too. You know, you have 3 things that your hourly wage goes towards. Like I may have taken home 33 an hour on paper as a carpenter, but if you look at me from a business standpoint, from like a gentleman that's running the job and looking at everyone's payroll on the job, I technically was worth 45, 43 an hour. There was about an extra $15 to $12 in my name that I was, you know, that the contractor was paying me, but I only took home 33 out of that 45. Where's that other $12 going? Well, about half of it was going towards my pension. A quarter of it was going towards my medical benefits to pay for my health insurance. And the other little bit was going towards a savings and annuity fund. And you can choose what you wanted to invest that to. It was stocks, basically just stocks. They put you in the Carpenter's Stable Value Fund until you chose otherwise. Grew maybe by about 0.9%, you know, just like a bank, 1% a year. I have about 10,000 in there right now. Every year they send me a letter that says, if you want to roll this over to a Roth or traditional IRA, please check this here and send this in. But you can do it at the end of the year. There's like a little period at the end of the year where you can roll it into something like an IRA and not pay any surrender penalties or any withdrawals or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. But guys, you can't access IRAs and 401ks before the age of 59 and a half without getting a 10% early withdrawal penalty.
That's on both traditional and Roth?
Yeah, that's all retirement accounts in the US. Cannot access them and withdraw money before 59 and a half, or you stand an early withdrawal penalty. That's what this tax triangle eventually gets at, guys. Cash value life insurance is the only thing up in there that you can actually have a lot of freedom to access, take out, surrender the full policy, maybe just take the loan, what have you, and really no penalties. But to get back to the triangle, does anyone else have any questions so far? Like, does that make sense? With the military though, I would just call them up. That should be your money and your money only. But like I said, they may have some sort of like, you need to be in the military for a few years before we let you have this thing. That's just them. You'd have to call them and ask them, you know, the Department of, you know, the VA there, Veterans Affairs. Sound good? Yeah. But yeah, I would just keep that. I would keep it in a Roth for yourself. Because guys, the thing is like, you wonder, why is there a Roth and why is there a traditional, right? Why is there even 2, right? Why is that? You know, and it's because in different times of our country's economy, there's times in our economy where the taxes are really bad. And there's times in our economy where the taxes are the income taxes is a little bit more favorable. So some people, you know, I'm not being political at all, but typically if you look at the history of this country's economy, when the politicians are in office, when there's a Democrat, typically the income taxes are a little bit higher across the board. Now, when there's Republicans in, typically they're fighting for lower taxes across the board. So a lot of people, you know, they'll hold all their money into these traditional IRAs, into these 401ks, those things that are tax deferred, right? The bottom right of our triangle, they'll invest and save money into these things, and they'll wait to roll them over to a Roth, or they'll wait to withdraw them until there's a more favorable time of our economy, a more favorable time where there's a way less severe income tax, you know, because whatever you're earning when you want to withdraw that money, whatever you're earning during retirement, that's the other thing. You're not going to be in a higher income tax bracket when you're retired because you ain't making nothing. You're retired, right? So yeah, you can get it at 59 and a half. You can get it at 60, 61, 62, but most guys and girls are still working in America. So when they take that money out, they're going to be in the $60,000 plus bracket because they're still making money. They're going to get taxed higher. Most people like to wait until they're not making anything, till they're fully retired. Then they'll take out the 401k. Then they'll roll over their traditional IRA into a Roth, because at that point, number one, they're not making as much income. So their tax bracket is one of the lowest income taxes you'll have to pay. And for two, that president or that tax system, that tax plan for that time frame is a lot more favorable in terms of income tax. Like everyone's always freaking, like right now, like Joe Biden's getting elected. Everyone's like, oh, I got to hide my money. Like I got to get my money. I got to get it out while the taxes are still good. Like in all honesty, Biden's plan isn't going to be affecting anyone's taxes right now that doesn't make over $5 million in investments and like, you know, assets. So, you know, it's really not changing too much, but everyone's still freaking out a little bit. They're trying to rush it. Yes, Dalton.
What's the difference between like, if you were to die and you had a Roth IRA, how does that work? And like, say you like didn't have any life insurance and you like were thinking that, oh, my Roth IRA is how my family will come up with like my funeral or something.
Yeah. Great question. Write that down and hold on to that. I want to finish this tax triangle real quick. But guys, there's one more thing that I wanted to go over before I finish the triangle in terms of withdrawing retirement funds while we're on the subject. If you guys look, let me double check because this always changes, you know, but there's actually an age where you are actually forced to start taking contributions from your retirements, or they'll penalize you as well. Okay. And I believe it's 57 and a half. That's what it is. It's 70. Okay. So that's it. Okay, good. Yep. That's what, so I was a little bit off there. Thank you. So that's the thing, guys. The other thing is you can't just hang on to your stuff either. Like you can't just be like, yeah, I got a fat IRA or a fat 401k and I'm going to just hold on to it and let it keep multiplying, let the interest keep going. No, Uncle Sam doesn't like that. You're gaining too much on us. They make you start taking contributions at age 70 or they'll start to penalize you. Again, life insurance, none of this applies. Cash value life insurance, none of this applies. That's why a lot of universal life policies are more or less just for the investment at the end of the day. No one really thinks that their death benefit's actually going to, you know, like Mr. Vina has one. He administers it well. When it needs 200 more a month, he throws it 200 more a month. When it needs this much more, he throws it at it. A lot of our middle class clients we sit down with aren't going to be able or even mentally capable to keep up with something like that, financially capable to keep up with something like that. That's why we specialize in whole life, because the way that people set up universal, when it's cheap and you try to keep it at a low price, I mean, eventually they're going to need more money, and not a lot of our clients can handle that. They want something easy, simple, that's going to stay the same price. I pay this, my family gets this, guaranteed, tax-free. I don't got to worry about my financial advisor, or I don't got to worry about my life insurance guy calling me and saying, hey, your universal policy needs this much this year, or it's going to, you know, collapse, right? So a lot of people have universal life and variable life because of these types of things, of the cash value life insurance features, you know, the tax deferred growth, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. If you withdraw an entire cash value lump sum and surrender your policy, you then will be taxed on the interest gained. The very, very unique thing about cash value life insurance is if you take a loan out of the cash value, but don't surrender and do a full withdrawal of the cash value, that loan isn't taxed by anybody. You don't have to pay taxes on that at all. Because, I mean, you already paid taxes on it when you put the money in there in the first place. Because it was coming from your bank account. You were already income taxed on that. Sure. So the only time that cash value life insurance is going to be taxed as income is if you take out and withdraw everything, which is called like a full surrender, technically. I want all my cash value, and whole life you can't just drain your cash value. It's going to collapse. So it's called a full surrender. If you take all your cash value out, the life insurance is done. You take all your cash value, all the interest gained, but you will pay income tax on the interest gained. You will not pay income tax on the premiums paid into that cash value.
Is that a surrender fee? Is that what that is?
Surrender fees that's a great question. A surrender fee is only universal life. Universal life is the only type of life insurance, variable life, you know, those pretty much everything but whole life and term, right? Universal life, variable life, the stock market investment life insurance, they are the only types of life insurance that have surrender fees. And it's for a reason, because they don't want you going in there, right? The government does all this. If life insurance companies could get away with it, they would. But the government has made mandates on how much your cash value could grow before it's considered, you know, this, that, and the other. But, you know, you actually, for universal life, usually for the first 10, and I've seen policies even say 20 years, there's a little decimal inside their policy in the back of the book, and it says surrender fee year 1, surrender fee year 2. And whatever that decimal is for that year, that the client, let's say 10 years later, he wants to take out cash value out of his universal life insurance. And let's say when you go to the policy, it says year 10, 5.1, right? That's his decimal that's his surrender decimal, right? That's the value on his 10th year for a surrender fee. But it will tell you in the directions how to find out the surrender fee. Take the decimal below, multiply it by the amount you're taking out per thousand. That's typically the formula, and you'll be able to see what the surrender fee will be out of that cash value that you're taking out. I've seen it be pretty horrid. I've seen a guy get a universal life policy when he was 44 years old. I have it in my office if anyone wants to see it. He had like 2,000 in there, but it was like the 5th year he had it. The surrender fee was like $1,800. This dude was like, you're telling me I don't even get the $1,800 that's in my policy. I'm going to get charged a surrender fee for you know, or the 2,000 that's in my policy. I'm going to get charged an $1,800 fee. I was like, yeah. And he's like, so I'll be left with 200 after all that money I put into it. I'm like, yeah. And then to make matters worse, it literally told him in plain letters that if he keeps paying the same premium and doesn't increase it, this policy will terminate on July 2021. That dude was hella pissed. He said, he was a carpenter, so we were just man to man it up. He's like, what a joke. So he took the policy, he stood up, he's like, what a effing joke. I was like, and you guys got to be careful, you know, when you're doing this to people and you're like getting really good where you can break this down and calmly go through this, you got to, like, sometimes I give them a disclaimer. I'm like, guys, I'll read the policy, I'll get my ammunition loaded up, locked and loaded, and I'll be like, all right, guys, now before I go into showing you how this works, can you promise me you won't shoot the messenger if I tell you things that may not be favorable to you? Because I'm just trying to help you, Joe. I do this for everybody. I'm just trying to be as honest as I can. You know, and you guys aren't like, it's not like I got this leg up because I was in construction. I do a little bit, but you guys can find the same leg up through other things. But I told him, I was like, you know, I'm blue collar. I like to help blue collar, you know, we're on that level, right? You can say my dad was blue collar. You can say your sister, just whatever you can say to understand them. Hey, I'm just trying to make sure I help the working man. My dad's been a working man his whole life. He's a police officer. So, you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. This is the universal, right? And go into it. Don't be like, and when you withdraw your money, you get nothing, and it's going to actually terminate next year. So basically, we've been paying money into this, and you've been absolutely wasting it because now there's nothing here, and you're screwed. I'm screwed. We're all screwed. You know, you've been scammed, buddy. Now, hey, do you want some of our life insurance? Like, how do you think that's going to go? Right? It's like, hey, you know, that's so. If we look here, it's like you're talking to your mom. Think of talking to your mom or how you'd want to tell your grandma. Like, I know, Mom, I love you. I just want to show you. I'm showing you this because I care. You see how this says right here, initial premium. That means it's just what it is now. And if we go to this other page here, you see how it says cost of insurance rates in the future. Okay, so they make it pretty hard to determine. If you look at all these decimals, it's pretty confusing, right? Yeah, they kind of universal companies, they kind of do that on purpose. But if we see, I'm just planting that little seed, right? Just planting those little seeds, like blaming it on that company, those people, not us. We're the good guys. We specialize in one policy, and we have term, but we specialize in one policy only, old school whole life. If you look at our policy, Joe, always keep a copy of our policy with you, or a printout like I give my guys of our cash value page. It doesn't say words like initial premium. It doesn't say words like corridors and initial death benefit, specified death benefit. Our life insurance literally just says face amount, premium payable for 120 years. So even if you're a little bit rookie, you're a little bit wet behind the ears, you're a little bit rusty, and you can't go in and fully do the math and demolish his policy, at the end of the day, you can just do it off of the generalization of, look at how this is telling you it's going to be structured, and look at what a real whole life policy tells you. I've gotten away with it just based off that before. One second. But guys, so that's just a side rant on like when you have to beat up a universal policy. There's a lot of negatives. There's the penalties. There's the surrender penalties, and of course the biggest problem is that it can change. But if we go back to the tax triangle, guys, you know, we just take a look at that. Basically, we had the top right as being tax-free. Those are the Roth IRAs, the pensions, you know, things of that nature. Municipal bonds, cash value life insurance. Tax deferred is the bottom right. Before tax money is going in, like we talked about, from the companies before they pay you, right? Out of your paycheck before it's taxed, whatever it may be. Before tax dollars are going in, but it's tax coming out. Those are traditional IRAs, those are pensions and 401ks. That's the scam that they get most of the middle class America involved in. Get a mortgage, get a 401k. Hey, your employer will match it. Dump all kind of money in there. Yeah. What happened to most Americans' 401ks during 2008? Most of them took like a 50% hit. But hey, we'll match it. Dump all your immediate liquid cash into it. Yeah. Uncle Sam wants to see, that's called institutionalized money, they call that. Every year the government takes a step back and they go, look at how much institutionalized money that we got laying around in America's retirements. Right? Why do you think the pensions are being phased out as a bad thing? You look around these days, you don't see too many pensions that are being offered by employers. You see everybody going with the 401ks. Why? Because they get taxed and they earn Uncle Sam more money. Pensions, no tax at all going in. You know, just a little bit of income tax going out, but not nearly as high, not nearly as bad. Right? So that's the thing, guys. Like, when I learned about all this, I really got sold on the whole life, because at the end of the day, this is the only thing still left in America, one of the only few things that's going to leave you with a lump sum tax-free payout available immediately. 3 to 5 days through our union agreement. What does a 401k do? Right? It pays out pretty quick. It might. Retirement accounts and life insurance are typically the only two things that skip the probate process when you die. Probate is just the fancy name for that court process that takes place when, your executor goes over all your valuables and says, well, his 401k goes here. He wanted the house to go to my daughter. He wanted his car to go to me. During that time, your bank accounts are in there. They're held up in the court process. Your mortgage is in there. It's held up. Everything that you own with any tangible value to it that has your name on it goes to your estate, and your estate is what gets settled in probate court. And your executor is who determines where that stuff goes. Your executor is also who pays all the frickin' fees, if any, and he also pays any debts that you still have in there. Oh, you want his mortgage, Mr. Executor? You want his mortgage? Okay, here's the loan. Take it over. Oh, well, I don't want to take that over. I don't got the money to take over my brother's mortgage. Okay, well, it's ours. Because guess what? The bank needs that mortgage paid off. So the bank's going to be right there in the courtroom too, like, haha, we'll take the mortgage. We'll get rid of it. You ever see home foreclosures, estate sales? Who do you think's running those estate sales? Why do you think that estate sale is happening? Because there's debt in that lady or that woman or man's estate, and it hasn't been paid by the executor. Why do you think there's an estate sale? To raise some funds to pay those debts. So the only thing that can skip the probate court process is retirement accounts and life insurance. And if you have an irrevocable living trust. That is, if someone brings that up during a sit, I've only heard it probably 4 times, and I've presented to 400 people probably, if not more, probably way more. But if someone says, I have an irrevocable living trust and I put my mortgage in that trust, it's paid off, right? Maybe it's not paid off. You can put cash in a trust. You can put gold in a trust. You can put anything you want into a trust. Trust will skip the probate court, and trust will just pay out pretty quick to whoever's the beneficiary on that trust. That's the one thing that you could possibly get beat on when we're talking about whole life insurance and the rest of the world's investments. And when that happens, just accept it and be like, that's great. What do you got in there? That's awesome. Tell you what, you got $50,000 in there for the funeral, Joe. It's going to pay out right away. You already paid taxes on it. It's going to go to your daughter. You did a great job. Very smart. You know, and it costs money to get a trust. It costs like a couple thousand. And if you got a lot of stuff in there, the lawyer will charge you even more to create a trust for you. So again, only heard it a few times in my sits because who are we dealing with? Middle class. Who's got $4 to $5 grand to $2 to $3 grand to dump to a trust for a lawyer, or to dump to a lawyer to make a trust for them? So usually people don't even know what you're talking about. I would never bring up a trust unless it was brought up first. Or unless this person thinks you're young and they've been trying to dog you since you came in. That's what I used to do. I used to sneak in little things like that. So just so they would kind of shut up a little bit, you know? And then, hey, do you know what happens when you die? You know what your executor is? And I'll explain exactly what I just explained to you guys. Short and sweet, understandable. Oh, wow. So all my stuff gets locked up? Yeah. The only thing that doesn't get locked up is life insurance. I'll tell them in retirement accounts. But we want to live off of our retirement accounts. We don't want to really spend and take out lump sums of our retirements that we've worked so hard to get and that are probably never going to be to the point we need them to be. We don't want to take any large chunks out of those on this. And I'll point to the needs analysis. This is what we live on. The life insurance, though, is what we die on. I don't even mention irrevocable living trust unless I want to impress somebody or they're already looking really smart. They got investments. They'll be like, yeah, that's right. And you'll be like, yeah, that is right. I already knew that. Great. We're on the same page. This guy's smart. I'm going to keep listening to him. Now, at the very end of the presentation, I'm like, well, Joe, to be honest, You have $50,000 in an irrevocable living trust that will take care of the funeral. But let me just recommend something to you. Why spend the entire $50,000 all at once on this funeral when you can take out a $50,000 life insurance policy with me today, Joe? Probably only put around 20 grand into it, and your daughter will still have a $50,000 lump sum payout on top of her $50,000 in your trust. Make sense? I just doubled your money, Joe. I just doubled your money. Same with investments. Oh, I could put that $90 a month for that $50,000 life insurance policy. I could put that $100 a month into an investment, and I can gain this many percentages, and I can have 50 by the time I'm older. Yeah, hey, you might, but when's the last time over the course of a lifetime anyone's investments ever went how they wanted it to? I'm showing you a guarantee. Do you want a guarantee for your family? And I'm not saying this. Of course, you have to find a nice way to say this. But do you want a guarantee for your family, or do you want I don't know what, a variable? What's a better word? A non-guarantee, right? So with that being said, guys, and if someone's trying to beat you and they're a buy term and invest the rest type guy, Dave Ramsey, up, down, left, and right, just I hate Dave Ramsey. You know, all Dave Ramsey does is talk trash on whole life all day, every day, guys. So if anyone brings up Dave Ramsey or that they've been listening to Dave Ramsey, get ready to switch your entire presentation to non-biased. Don't go hard on the whole life and beat the shit out of the term. Be very non-biased. Be very, very intellectual with money and where it goes, like we're being right now. Yeah, you're right. You absolutely, you can buy term and invest the rest, but let's take a look at what a term policy would cost you right now if you bought a $100,000 term policy at 35. Might be with a very good company, 20 bucks a month, 15. With a company that's not too good, I've seen them be 50 bucks. Depends on your health too. Term's not easy to qualify for. Those nice cheap rates they advertise for term, that's someone in tip-top peak shape. So, okay, I'm paying 20 bucks a month for $100,000 a term, and that's a 30-year term. Yeah, Joe, that's great. But my $100,000 whole life policy for you today is just 90 bucks a month for a 30-year-old, roughly. So let's look at this $70 a month difference. What do you think on average that the market's getting us right now? About 2%. Let's do 70 bucks a month times it by 12. That's $840 a year. And we'll earn 2% on that $840 a year. Can someone tell me what the answer to that is? 840 times 2%. On 842%, 17 bucks, $17. Whoa. Wow. Buy term and invest the rest. Okay. Now it's getting a little bit higher. Now let's say obviously you've set 70 bucks a month, 70 bucks a month, 70, right? 840 a year, 840 a year, 840 a year. Let's say we have 10,000 in there now. What's 10% of, what's 2% of 10,000? That's to say you're getting the 2%, guys. That's what like a regular IRA can try to get you these days for now. 200 bucks. Wow. 200 bucks. So it's safe to say that if you keep spending the $70 a month for the rest of your life, yeah, you may have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 in there. That's great. 40,000, 50,000. It keeps compounding. That's awesome. But at the same time, how much did you just spend on that term that absolutely is just gone right now? You also just spent another 10 grand on the term for those 30 years. So you can look at the 10 grand spent on the term, the 840 a year dumped into the investment, and just give them a slight example, 2% a year, 2% a year. Let's say you kept saving this, keep compounding it for them. Okay, great. We got up to, by the time you're, 65 years old, you may have 100 grand in this thing. That's great. But you spent like 20 to get into that. You spent almost 30, like you spent a lot to get into that, 30, 40,000, maybe even more. Not to mention What does a financial advisor charge you every year on your money that's earned? Does anybody know? There's a penalty. It's called administration fees. Typically anywhere between 1 to 3% administration fees. Where's Dalton? He tell anybody? Elton. Okay. Thought he was here for 11. 10:52. Okay, good, good. So that's the thing, guys. You know, you can really break it down and look at, yeah, you might want to buy term and invest the rest. Hey, you guys might want to buy term and invest the rest. But when we look at it down the long run with an average citizen like yourself, average income, you're going to spend a lot. You're going to put 30,000, about 25,000 into our $100,000 whole life policy. And at the end of the day, you're going to have cash value in there that you can take out. It grew tax deferred the whole time. You're going to have $100,000 tax-free payout no matter when, no matter how. So you can spend 30,000 here, or you can spend 30,000 buying term and invest in the rest and pray to have a $100,000 lump sum payout and get hit with administration fees, thousands and thousands a year. How do you think financial advisors make their money? Their six-figure salary is based off of your money. And to top it all off, you go ahead and you need that money before 59.5. What did we just go over you're going to get hit with? Early withdrawal fee, 10%. So do you want to guarantee that there's $100,000 tax-free no matter if you died tomorrow? Because when you're buying in term and investing the rest, you die tomorrow, yeah, you're going to get your terms payout. That's great. But what if you die after the term's gone? You're getting nothing. You're left with your little buy term, invest the rest bucket that has 60 grand in it. That's been robbed of about 20 over the years, 10 over the years with administration fees. It's also, you're going to get robbed again when you withdraw it because it's going to be hit with what? What else besides? Nope, no capital gains on retirements. Only on stocks. Capital gains are on stocks. Look up capital gain tax, long-term, short-term. That's another thing, but that's for like stocks, not retirements. But what else is there? If we take it out before 59.5, we get a 10% early withdrawal penalty. We're getting administration fees. And what else happens when we take that money out if we choose that over life insurance?
Income tax.
It's tax as income. So at this point, for our middle-class Americans, which route is looking a lot better and a lot more guaranteed and financially secure for their family? The whole life. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. If you're sitting down with someone that's like 50 years old, these numbers aren't going to be too favorable with our life insurance unless it's like a $100,000 plus policy. But they're still very favorable. You're still getting a guaranteed return, and that's better than nothing. That's better than a variable anything.
Wait, what? They've already put enough in it?
No, just at 50 plus, you see the rates start to go a lot higher for any whole life insurance. So you're not getting that. Like when you're younger and you start a life insurance policy, it's like the gains, the numbers are way more favorable. Plus a $100,000 whole life policy, let's say you grab it at age 35. If you look in your rate book, the reduced paid up option, they'll let you keep $88,000 and be tax-free. Is that Eldon?
My dad.
That's your dad? Nice. Awesome. They'll let you take out they'll let you keep a reduced paid up option. We all know how those work, right? Maybe some new people don't, but get educated on it. Read the rate book. I stopped paying at 65 on a $100,000 whole life policy that I got in my 30s. They'll let you keep 88 grand and never pay them again after retirement. You only put 25 into it. You just gained $50,000. Oh, of course, not while you're alive. I know it's a death benefit, but what are you trying to buy term and invest the rest for? For when you die, right? I just showed you a sure, quick way to start my $100,000 whole life policy today, stop paying at 65, and earn a straight up $55,000 profit. Tax-free lump sum for your family. So it's not like we have to pay our whole life forever.
What happens
Cash value gets taken, it gets held by the company. If you take your reduced paid up option, they use the cash value to afford to be able to give you that. That's your premiums paid in. So they kind of need to keep that to let you keep 80,000, you know, or they would be going broke. But guys, you know, the sales coffee today was less questions than I wanted, and I apologize for that. I hope you learned a lot, but we got the top of it. Well, let's just summarize the tax triangle. The top is tax-free, Roth IRAs, cash value life insurance. The bottom right is tax deferred, where you're already paying your before tax money is going in, but it's getting taxed as it pays out. And then the left side, guys, is taxable. And that's like mutual funds, stocks, bonds, and bank accounts. You're putting after-tax money in. You're putting after-tax money in. And it's taxable coming out. It says it includes mutual funds, stocks, bonds, and bank accounts. That's the bottom left. After-tax money in, taxable coming out. That is the capital gains and stuff. Exactly, Stephen. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Even if you sell like a home, you get short-term capital gains tax on it. If you sell a home, oh, I can just sell my home. I can go on forever. You guys need to be able to go on forever. You'll get more sold in the process and no one will say anything to you. And it's a good, honest policy. It's a good, honest going on forever. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. Get educated on this. Don't let anyone tell you nothing. And get these people what they need, because if you don't push them, they're not going to do it.
What would you say are some good sources to study in order to figure that out on your own time?
The internet.
I know. I mean,
I would just Google, why is whole life better than this? Why is whole life better than that? Why is universal bad? What are the pros and cons of universal? I would just Google everything. There's one thing that I heard, but I never read. It's a book by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is he's up there with the Grant Cardones, the Ed Milet's. He's even better than them too. He's more veteran status, Tony Robbins. But he made a book that just Google Tony Robbins' book about investments and it will pop up. I'll Google it right now just to see if it's there. But he actually, this is what sparked all this, because yeah, I'm hopping off. Yep. It's the one that sparked all this, because he was on an Ed Milet podcast and he talked about how much middle-class Americans get robbed by the mutual funds and the investments and everything. So read some Tony Robbins. We got Money Master the Game and Unshakable.
Money Master the Game, for sure. I literally was just talking about that last night to an SGA who messaged me. He said, I saw your video you posted. What do you think about getting into the market? And I was like,
What do you think?
I got out of the market. So
What link?
anyways, I'm going to jump on with our pipeline right now.
Pipeline?
Let's get
Yeah,
your
did.
pipeline
I
filled
sent
up.
it
Let's get these
to the
houses
managers group
complete
me.
this month. We got 3
Sorry.
more days to rock
Wait,
this
but then how do
jersey
I send it to my
contest,
person?
guys.
It's
Jeremiah,
not-
yeah, I thought
Like,
Reich would
maybe-
take care of it. Sorry about that.
no.